Hello everyone. So it is Devabrata. So as it is the first chapter of your programming journey, I would request you to go through the link that will tell about my journey in this programming world. So all the links you will be able to get at the details section of this video. Okay, so please go through that once. So about myself, yeah, I am a slow learner and I struggled a lot during my initial days. I started programming in my college days. It was pretty late, but I was really scared of doing programs in my first 2 years in my graduation days. So everyone surrounding me used to tell me many technical terms like JVM, like hacking. They used to talk about them between themselves, about for loops, everything. So I thought that programming is not for me at least. So but somehow it changed. You can visit my blog to view that story. I have written everything there. Okay, so you can go through that. So from myself, if you ask me, I will only tell time is precious, so do not waste the time. Okay, so today we'll be starting our programming journey. I have named it this chapter as starting programming. So for initial few chapters, I would not care about your academic syllabus. I will make you understand why we are doing programming in real world. It is not because of it is in your syllabus. It is not because of that reason. Actually, when I was in school, I used to see many STD booths in my area. So, but no, nowadays everyone recharges their phone, even you as well, using your mobile apps. There are multiple mobile apps like Paytm, Freecharge, lots of that, lots of them actually there. So people book the train tickets, flight tickets, even in online apps. But in my childhood days, I have seen like they are going to rail booking center to book the tickets. But nowadays everything has been changed, especially after this COVID-19. People are using online platform more, sending money through apps, sending means doing everything. Even I cannot remember when I went to my bank last. Previously, actually, previously there was one person in bank I used to see who used to print passbook, bank passbook, but now it is automated. In beside SBI in India, they have invented one app, like one machine like Swayam. So the machine name is Swayam. So automatically the passbook is printed by that machine. So even you can see some e-lobby for the banks. So e-lobbies are basically, it has few machines which can do anything without human intervention. You can also search about IBM Watson. So what is IBM Watson? IBM Watson is a automated service. You can say it has AI. AI means artificial intelligence. It has. So recently I have heard that this machine won a case against a human lawyer in some American court. Okay, you can search that. You can find out the autopilot mode. I think you all know our flights run on the autopilot mode. So actually machine drives the flight uh, at the height of few kilometers in sky. So there is a autopilot mode. Even there is a news going on, means I was hearing, I was checking, in Japan they were testing driverless car. Just think, driverless car in the road. So you might be scared of after thinking, even like a driverless car is going on in Indian roads. So anyway, so even you have an experience, you might have an experience to play online games, even computer chess game. So what happens there? Is there any person behind the scene? I guess no. All of them are programming. So actually machine does not have any brain or intelligence. It is just the programming. Everything is written so well that we make mistakes sometime by considering that machine is playing the game. So it is actually not like that. So I would recommend you to go through these links. Okay, so like IBM Watson on a case, as a lawyer, I have already told you. Apart from that, the second topic is very interesting. Like two chatbots start talking and invented their own language. It is very scary even. So you can search that. Okay, in Google, just type these phrases in Google window, and you will be able to get the details. So world first robot citizen Sophia. So there are many topics like that. If I get time, I will discuss the same in some other day. So you can go through them. So, okay, so before starting the program, I would request you to start with a small app. Okay, we would be creating some app. Okay, so suppose if I ask you, like, what is your height in centimeter? I think we all know our heights in foot. So let me go to the my online browser first. And suppose if anyone asks your height, so suppose your height is 5 feet or 6 feet. So if I ask you what is your height in centimeter, so uh, how do you calculate? So the easiest way is to type in Google foot to centimeter converter, right? So suppose if I give my height is 6 feet, say, so it will give 182 automatically. So I don't think there is anyone behind my computer or computer browser who is calculating this for me. It is all about machine. So I will try to create some apps like this. So we have multiple like this here in Google. We can change temperature. We can change means Celsius to Fahrenheit, or we have many options, Kelvin to Fahrenheit, and many more. Even we can change time, means 1 second means how many minutes. So suppose let me write 100 seconds. So it means 1.66 minutes. Look, right? So if I write 120 seconds, that means 2 minutes. So all the converters are available here. So this would not be in your syllabus, but still, I would like to create an app for you, because Excel is everyone has Excel in their machine, but this Excel programming you would not have ever in your syllabus, I can say. So how can we create a small app, a demo app? After that, I am going to today's topic, the programming language. So how you can create an app in this Excel sheet? So you have to do one thing before. I have already adjusted this developer tab, but by default you will not be able to see this developer tab in your Excel ribbon. So what I need to do, I have to go to file and options. It may vary as per the Excel version in your computer, but it should be somewhere around here, customize ribbon and developer. Okay, so if I uncheck it, it will not be visible in the ribbon. If I check it, it will be visible in the ribbon. Okay, so I have currently a developer tab. I am let me go into the insert button, and I will introduce one command line button like this. Okay, let me do it quickly because this will not be in your syllabus, but don't skip the video. Okay, just learn it, because this is the first thing I am showing you. So after that, we will be jumping into the program. Okay, let me bring some text box, two text box, and third one, where is that? Sorry, text box, yeah, this one. So three text box. Okay, the name of the first text box is text box 1, you can see here. The second text box name is text box 2, you can see here in the name box. Third text box is text box 3. So, and let me change some the visibility of these buttons. Let me go to the properties. Okay, and here I will write, what is the caption name? Caption. Yeah, here is the caption. Let me change it to submit, or just a plus. Give me plus. So it will there will be a plus sign visible on the command button. Okay, I can do many more stuff, like give some shadow, give some colors. Okay, let me go to the property of this text box. I can change the color. You can do it by yourself. It is very interesting. Okay, let me change the color of this box. Okay, I'm not doing much. Okay, so I am done with that part, the designing part. So now what I will do, let me directly double click on this button. Look, Now I am inside this button. So what I will do, I will introduce three variables, and this is Visual Basic coding. Okay, we do not have Visual Basic in our syllabus, and it will not be ever after in your syllabus. So do not need to learn. Just check what I am doing, how these apps are working in our in the in our world, real world actually. So I have introduced three variable A, B, C. So now what I will do, I will take the input from text box one. So from A equals to, A will take the value inside text box one. So don't go for the syntax. I am writing everything because this will not be in your syllabus, but it is pretty interesting if you want to understand what exactly your program is doing. So like this, after that, in text box 3, so what I have done, I have taken the value from text box 1 and put that inside the A variable, and the value from text box 2 and put that inside the variable B. So after that, I have calculated the sum into C, and at last text box 3 dot text equals to C. So I am displaying the value of C into text box 3. Okay, let me do that quickly. Let me close this. So whenever I will be double clicking on this button, I will go inside the code. So what I will do, I will just turn this design mode to off. So whenever design mode is on, you can double click on the button and you can go inside the code. But whenever design mode is off, here is the design mode. If it is off, then you cannot go inside. Okay. So let me give two value like 20 and say 30. And if you click on plus, look, 50 is coming. So that is pretty much interesting. Okay. So that is interesting. So suppose there is a requirement like, okay, let me turn on the design mode. Suppose there is a requirement to change hour, I will give hour, and I will give say minute, and in return I will get second. So what will happen? I do not need the second checkbox then. So what I will do, whatever there inside A, I will calculate C equals to or D equals to A into 60. And I will display the value of B inside text box 3. Let me close this quickly and let me delete this one because I do not need this anymore. So let me place it, and I can put some color here. Let me put some color to make it more visible to you. Let me choose some other colors like ash color. Okay. Anyway, I can do many stuff, so I'm not doing that. My motive is to show you how the programming are working, programming logics are written. So okay, let me turn off the design mode. So let me click on this. 20 minutes means 1200 seconds. Okay, so 2 minutes and it is 120 seconds. I can change this plus sign because it is not giving me the correct representation what we are doing. I can write like in caption, I can write convert to seconds. I can give a message like this. So look, now turn off the design mode. Let me click it 120. Let me give 5 minutes, convert to seconds. Whenever I will click, it will give me 300 seconds. So you can do many things. We can write so let me do another one quickly. I can calculate the area of rectangle and perimeter. Many things I can do. So let me do it quickly. That will be the last programming in Excel. After that, I will move to the, okay, why I'm bringing this. Okay, let me bring this button. Just a minute. I will create two buttons actually. One for area and another for perimeter. So this button will be for, okay, it will be showing perimeter, and this button, let me change it to area. Okay, correct. So I will introduce one text box here to take two sides of input, and I will introduce another checkbox to print the perimeter. I'm not putting any color inside. So, okay. So what will I do? Let me check the name. The name of this, but name of this text box is text box 2, and name of this new text box is text box 4. Okay. Let me go inside the area. So what I will do, I will take text box. I will take a value from text box, and C will be what is the rule to calculate the area of a rectangle? It is A into B, side 1 into side 2. And for perimeter, it is 2 into A plus B. So it is really a cool stuff. You can create your own app to do all the mathematics. Okay. So let me give the answer D. And text box 3 will show the value of C. And I need to do one thing. I have one extra value now, variable. So I have to, don't go for the code. I am writing it for you. Just just check the logic. A equals to A is taking the value from first text box. B is taking the value from the second text box. C is calculating A into B. A into B. D is calculating 2 into A plus B. And after that, I am showing those variables. Okay. Let me close this part. Let me turn off the design mode. Okay, now let me give some values 10 and say 4. I do not know what is the answer. So okay, look, area is 40. Okay, I have introduced another button. I think I do not need to write any more logic. If you want, you can write a logic inside this button as well, and it will open another set of function. So I think I do not need this button. One button is enough. Okay, so everything is clear. So in the similar way, okay, what I want to say, this is a visual basic code. So in similar manner, we can create our own logic using our programming language. It might be Python, it might be Java. The logic is same for any language. Okay, so let's now move to our coding part. So to start this video or to start this tutorial, I do not require any prior knowledge. If you know anything, just I will recommend to forget the same. Okay, because I do not need anything from you. I just need the time in your hand. You need to practice all of the exercise I will show you now. So you need to practice all of them in your compiler, okay, in your computer or in your laptop by yourself. Then only you will be able to understand. I may be a bit fast or I may be a bit slower during the tutorial, so it will be good if you can pause the video and do it by yourself. If needed, you can go back and check the video once again and again do it by yourself, okay, in your compiler. Then it will help. And after the tutorial, there is a lesson. Okay, there is an exercise. You can go through that. If you face any doubt, you can come back to me by sending a mail or by commenting in this video. You can ask for the help if you have any query or any doubt. Okay, so let's start the first chapter, the starting programming. Okay, let's write our first programming in Java. So as it is your first programming in Java, you might not have the compiler installed in your machine. So I would prefer to go for the online compiler. So you can do all the programs even in Java using this online compiler. You will not face any single problem. So you can do everything. So multiple online compilers are available. So I would prefer to go for online Java compiler that is provided by onlinegdb.com. So you can go to that because I use that compiler. I do not have any compiler installed in my machine. I always go for this online one. So it is very easy to use. Just type in Google like online Java compiler. So that's the program. That's the space actually where I need to write the program. But before doing that, I would like to say one thing, like we can do all the mathematical problem. We can solve all the mathematical problems by writing some Java code. So you can convert or you can use a shortcut, like you can convert all of your academic mathematics exercise using Java. So what is the help then? The help would be you do not need to calculate by it by yourself. It is not a good idea, I know. So I would recommend you, like you can behave like a boss and ask the computer to do all the mathematics for you. But yeah, in one condition, you cannot tell this to your mathematics teacher that I have suggested you to do all the mathematics using Java program. So please do not tell this to your mathematics teacher. Okay, so let's check the first mathematical problem. So it is find the sum of two numbers. So we have checked the similar program in Visual Basic earlier. So now I will try to do the same here in Java compiler. So what I need to do, first I will check. Okay, first one thing, I do not concentrate on this part, the highlighted lines, the first two lines. I will not going to concentrate at all. I'm not going to concentrate. For you, the same thing for first 10 chapters. We do not need to do not need to think think even about these two lines. Okay, so whatever is written here, public static void main, etc., do not need to concentrate on those part. Okay, you just need to focus on the lines written inside these two brackets. Okay, so now we have only one line in this in between these two brackets is hello world. So it is a line actually by which we can print anything, like system.out.println. By using this statement, we can print anything. Like suppose if I write my name here, Devobrata say. So what it if I execute this program, what will happen? It will print my name. Look, it is printing my name successfully. So if I write Devobrata Guha, so it will print my name. Whatever is written inside the code, it will print it that part as it is. Okay, so look, it is printing Devabrata Guha. If I write hi, hello, 5, 6, 7, 8, if I write hi, hello, 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of thing, it will print the this string written inside these two codes as it is. Okay, it will print as it is. Whatever you will write, it will be printed. So now our problem was like find the sum of two numbers. So to solve this problem, what I need to do, I need to introduce three variables, two variables to hold the value and third variable to hold the sum. Okay, so we need to introduce a variable like this, int a b c. Okay, so if we use four variables, I need to write int a b c d. Even you can use any variable, you can use x y z even. So let me use x y and sum is for sum. So I always try to give some meaningful names to the variable, so it will be actually easier for me to understand. So now x, y, and s. So I will introduce a variable inside x. Suppose it is 10. I will introduce a variable inside y. Suppose it is 5. Okay. So now I will calculate the sum. S equals to x plus y. And what I'm going to do, I will print the sum is s. Okay. So let me run this program first and check what is the output. It will give an output like the sum is s. Look, it is taking some time. Yeah, the sum is s because computer is not intelligent enough to understand I am trying to print the sum of those values. Means it is thinking I am asking the computer like to print the sum is s. So computer is not able to differentiate. Means if I am wanting the value inside s, or I want to see the s itself in the output screen. So it is just printing the line the sum is s. That's all. So if I need to print the value itself, the variable is. So what I need to do? I need to do the sum is plus s. I need to place this s outside of the print means code. So whatever you will write inside the code, that will be printed as it is. So I have written the s outside of the code, inside the println statement, but outside the code. So that I did. So now check what it prints actually. Now it is printing the sum is 15. Okay, means the sum is as it is because it is inside the code, and the value inside s because I have written s outside the code. Okay, so now I can use this logic to write the print statement in more efficient way, like the sum of as it is plus the value of a plus and as it is plus the value of b plus is as it is and s, means this part would be print as it is, the sum of, then the value of a, then and the as it is it will be printed and after that the value of b, after that is will be printed as it is, and at last the value of s. Okay, and all the part of these printing statements are connected by via the plus. Okay, so all the statements are connected via the plus operator. It is operator basically. Anyway, we do not need to learn the theory as of now, so let me run this first. Okay, I have done some mistakes. Where I have done mistakes, okay, I have taken x and y, but I have written a and b. So yeah, let me correct it to x and y. So in the error statement, it will clearly show what is the error. It is saying, it is denoting the variable a here, and it is saying variable a, there is some problem with the variable a. Okay, and if you go below, I think it is also mentioning there is some problem with variable b. So if you check the error message clearly, it will be very good. You will be able to understand what is the error inside the programming. So let me run this once again. It is taking some time. Okay, so it is printing the sum of 10 and 5 is 15. So let me change the value a bit. Let me do it 20, and instead of 5 let me give it 50. So let me check what it is now giving. It should give the sum of 20 and 50 is 70. Look, it is giving the answer correctly. So I think you are able to understand the logic. And one thing, just you need to introduce these variables in the first line, like int x, y, s. Whatever variable will be used inside the program, you need to mention it in the first line. Before using it, you need to mention it. That's all. That's all we require. Okay, so let me go to the next problem. Find the area and perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so what I will do, let me delete this part. Let me delete everything now. So, if you do not know how many variables you need to use, just keep this part. You can first take two variables x and y to take input to assign two sides inside this variable. Even you can use some meaningful name, rather x and y. You can take s1, s2, any name you can use. So s1 equals to say 10, the first value. S2 equals to 5, say, and area equals to a. So area is the formula of area is S1 into S2. I think all of you are better than me, at least in case of mathematics, because uh, I have done my last mathematics in my college days, so it was long ago. So you can use it easily because the area formula of area of a rectangle is side 1 into side 2. That's all. So and perimeter is side 1 plus side 2. So I think some of you, it has already been in your academic syllabus, mathematics syllabus. So if you are doing the exercise currently of these chapters, you can use this Java programming to determine the answer. You do not need to do it by yourself, but it is not recommended. Your mathematics teacher will be really angry after hearing this, but still you can do this. There is an option. So anyway, so we have used a to hold the area. We have used the variable p to hold the perimeter. So I have to mention this variable in the first line. Let me introduce a and b, and at last I will print system dot out dot println. The area is plus a, and I am a lazy person. I'm not going to write it again and again. I will just copy and paste, and it will be perimeter is p. Okay, let me run this program. So it should be 50 area and perimeter is 30. Okay, 10 plus 5 into 2. Okay, so I can use many I can use any variable names. I can give area AR and perimeter PR, and I can write AR equals to S1 S2, PR equals to S1 S2, and I have to print here PR and here area AR. So you can use any variable's name. Okay. So it is not defined anywhere that you have to give some name like AR, or you can use any variable name. So look, the area is 50 and the perimeter is 30. Okay. So let me go to the next problem. It is find the area and perimeter of circle. So in case of circle, I do not require to take two sides. It will be enough if I only define X or R for radius. So let me take R equals to 10. And what is the formula of area in case of circle? It is, I guess, 3.14 into R means pi R square, whatever I can remember. So perimeter will be 2 pi R, I guess. So it will be 3.14 into R. Okay. So the area is again AR and PR. That's all. So let me run this program. It is giving some error. Why it is giving? It is saying two errors. Okay. It is why it is giving some error. It is saying 3.14. It is having some problem with 3.14. Okay. So for the time being, let me give 22 by 7. Okay. Here as well, 3.14 means 22 by 7. I will show the problem later in this chapter even. Okay, so in this chapter itself, I will show what was the error I faced. Anyway, so 3.14 or 22 by 7, it is giving the area is 300 and perimeter is 60. Okay, so basic calculation we can do now. So go to the, let's check what we going to read today. So there will be five different topics today. We will learn in the starting programming. So the topic one is the how to take the input. So you have checked in the Visual Basic program earlier that user is giving the input. Okay, it is not like I am writing 10 or 50 here. User is giving the values of the two numbers or the size of a rectangle. User is able to give the input. So I will try to implement the same thing in Java. How user can give the input means it will not be written anywhere. User will give in the runtime and the output will be printed. So it will be more dynamic then. So the problem is enter two sides of a rectangle and print area and perimeter. So to take input from user, so first let me write the problem once again. Means the area and perimeter of a rectangle. So let me introduce two variables like X and Y and area and perimeter A and P. So what I will do, I will X equals to 10. It was the previous program. I should have taken a backup, but yeah, I haven't taken any backup. So let me write the program once again for you. So it is 2 into X plus Y, kind of that. Okay, and I will print area. Area is A now, the variable A, and the perimeter is the variable P. Okay, so that was the program we have executed earlier, just now, just 5 minutes back. So this is a program. Now I do not want to hard code this value. I want a flexible thing, means I want to take this input from user and assign the value to X. So what I need to do, I need to introduce some of these lines. You do not need to remember these lines as of now. You do not need to understand what I am writing now. For first, I can say 10 chapters, we do not require to understand what is the meaning of this import java.util.start. You just follow whatever I am writing. So inside this main, inside this brackets means the public static void main, I have to write scanner is the new scanner system dot in. Okay, that is the line you need to write. So no need to understand again why I am writing this line. So what I need to do now, I need to print one statement to user like please enter the please enter the first side of rectangle. So this will be printed as it is, because we have already checked the system.out.println is used to take print something as it is. So I have written, please enter the first side of rectangle. So what I will do now, I will do is x equals to sc.nextInt. Instead of giving a hard code value, I am writing this one. So again, you do not need to understand what I have written. You do not need to know the meaning. You have to remember just one thing. To take an input from user, you need to write this one, sc.nextInt. And to support this line, sc.nextInt, you have to write couple of lines before, like scanner and like the first line in the program, import. Okay. So to take input, you need to assign x equals to this line, sc.nextInt. You do not need to know the meaning. So I will do the same thing. I will print this line again. Please enter the second side. And it would be good if you maintain the align. Means like it is bad to write the statement like this. It will be good to print in a line, in a pattern. So that would be good actually. So please enter the second side of rectangle. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm copying this part, sc.nextInt. Instead of giving any value 5, I am deleting the 5 and I am pasting that sc.nextInt. So what will happen? sc.nextInt will help us to take an input from the user. So let me run the program once again. Okay, it is taking some time. Okay, so now it is asking, please enter the first side of the rectangle. So I will give say 50, and now it is asking please enter the second side of rectangle. Let me give 20. So it should give the area is 1000 and perimeters is 140. So now the idea is clear how to take the input and output from the user. Okay, so let's check the second program. Enter your age in year and find it in days. So let me delete these lines. Okay, let me keep this. Let me delete this one. Okay, so these lines will be unchanged. Scanner is seen, next new scanner, those lines will be unchanged. So what I will do now, I will introduce a variable like x year, say y, and days equals to d. So I need to take only one input now. So I will write, please enter your age in years. Enter your age in years. And I will take the input inside y. So y equals to sc.nextInt. That's all. So what I need to do now, d equals to 365 into y. I think you all know this logic. Means if 1 year means 365 days, 2 year means 2 into 365, 3 years means 3 into 365 kind of. So whatever will be my age, I will be multiplying that part with 365 and I will get the day. So okay, so let me print the output. The age in days are, the age in days is, okay, it is D. Okay, let me run this. So let me put my age, say it is 31, my age. So it is giving days like 11,315 days is my age. So I'm pretty older. Okay, so let me enter some other numbers. Suppose anyone is giving the age as 20, say. So it is giving the age in days is 7,300. So that is the way to take input and do your logic. Okay. So I think it is cool. If you are not able to understand, I will recommend you to go through the video once again and do it by yourself in your compiler. Okay, that would be good. You can use any compiler, BlueJ or Core Java, Eclipse, anything, or even you can use the online compiler like me, but you have to do it by your hand. Okay. So, okay, topic two is the float value. So there are some cases. Suppose if anyone asks, enter two sides of a rectangle and find the area and perimeter, but considering the thing in mind that sides might hold some fractional value. Means it is not like always it will hold 50 and 20. It might be 50.5, 20.7, kind of that. So what I need to do, it is very easy. First, let me write the program once again. It would be good if I take a backup, but still. Okay, let me take a let me write the program once again. Let me write S1, S2, area and perimeter, AR and PR. And please enter side one, and it will be inserted into S1, the variable. I am going to copy it because I am writing this program again and again. So I forgot to take the backup anyway. So S2 equals to SC.nextInt. Look, I am not even concentrating on this part. If I need to take an input, I need to just write SC.nextInt. That's all. I do not need to know what is the meaning of SC.nextInt. Okay, I'm not looking at all in this part, SC.nextInt. Anyway, so to calculate area, what I need to do, AR equals to S1 into S2, and PR equals to perimeter equals to 2 into S1 plus S2. So now we are facing some issues earlier as well while handling 3.14, if you can remember. So we are going to get the same error once again now. Let me check first. Let me first complete the program because multiple lines are involved here. Okay, please align it. Okay, align the program like I did. Okay, so area and perimeter. I think it is done. So let me first run the program. Okay, it is taking some time. Okay, so let me give 10 and let me give 5, two sides. So it is giving 50 and 30 correctly. So let me run the program once again, and now I will give some fractional value. Fractional values means 10.5, 10.3, 50.3, 60.7, whatever it is. So let me give 10.2, and it is giving some error. Okay, it is giving some error like we faced when we have given 3.14. So it is a similar error it is giving. Why? Because we have declared a int here. Int means integer. Int means integer. Integer means whole number. Whole number means the numbers like 3, 4, 5, -5, 50, 1000, and all. Okay, so those all are called integer number or whole number. So now, as I am taking an input like 10.2, I have to change a bit. So what I need to change? I need to introduce them as float, or better to say double. So double will be good in case of Java. So double. Okay. So one thing. Okay, double is in small letter. Okay, I forgot to tell you one thing. Like in this program, this string S will be in capital. This system S will be in capital. Scanner S will be in capital. And the fourth one, this system.out.println, this S will be capital. So all the S here will be in capital. I am repeating: string S capital, scanner S capital, system.in S capital, and system.out S capital. And last one, the fifth one, the I. Next int I is capital. That's all. That's you need to remember. In the first chapter, you will face some error message due to this capital thing. But yeah, after that, it will be easier to understand because we have only 5 to 6 things where we use capital. Okay, for the time being, it will be enough for you to continue your programming. So anyway, let me focus on the topic 2, the float value. So I have changed the int to double. I have changed int to double. So now I need to change a bit here. I cannot mention int. It should be next double. So this is your sixth thing. Means here D will be in capital, but here it will be in small. Similar like int. When you declare int is smaller here, but whenever you write next int, I is capital. So I need to change this as well because it can be fractional value. So next double. That's all I need to do. Let me run the program once again. Now it should work. Let me check. Okay, so let me give now 10.2 and give some value like 3.77 kind of thing. And it is giving the area and perimeter correctly. Look, it is giving 38.454 and to 27 point something. Yeah, I'm not good at mathematics, so I will not validate it. You can validate the same using your calculator. So my idea is until I have computer in my hand, I'm not going to calculate this by myself. It will be good to use computer to do this tough calculation. So what I am doing, I am just mentioning double here. At the time of taking input, I am mentioning double here. That's all. That's all I need to do. Okay, to handle the floating value. So what else is there? It is enter two numbers and find the division. So let me do the program once again. Okay. Okay. Let me write this program. Like number one is N1 and number two is N2 and division, let's say D. So I can take the, please enter first number, I can write, and I'm taking the value inside N1 and then N2, the second value, but I will write this, please enter second number. Okay, so next double, it is good. What I will do now, I will just D equals to N1 by N2. Okay, and I will write the division is, the result is, it will be D. That's all. And I do not need this second print statement. So that's all. So let me run the program. So if I write 10.2 and the second number is 2.1, say, the answer will be something like 4.85 like this. So it is not like if I define double, I need to always take double input or the floating value input or the fractional input. It is not mandatory. I can input some of the integers as well. Let me give 10 and 2. So it is giving 5 successfully. So it is not like that. It will be just 5.0. Otherwise, everything will be same. Let me give 9 and 2. It is giving 4.5 successfully. But if I give int, means a double value can take a floating point number, a fractional value, or the whole number, or the integer. It can take both, the integer and double. But an integer value cannot take a floating point input or the fractional input. Okay. So let me check the same using int again. So let me give all the int here. Okay. Now let me check what it gives in case of 9 and 2. So in case of 9 and 2, it is giving answer 4. It is not printing the fractional value at all. Okay, I'm not able to assign any fractional value here. It will give error. Look, let me run the program once again. If I give 10.2, it is immediately throw an error because I am trying to put a fractional value inside the variable. But if I give the value correctly, if the answer comes as a fractional, then it will simply discard the point value part, and it will simply print the whole number part, that is 4. It is discarding 4.5, the 0.5 part. It is just printing 4. Okay, so I think it is clear now. Okay, so I do not need to run this again. So yeah, that is the way to handle float value. So let me go to the topic 3. We have to cover 5 topics. So it is calculate remainder. It is very easy. If anyone asks you to enter 2 numbers and find the result and remainder, so what will you do? So I will take 2 numbers inside, say, x and y. Let me change a bit. We can use any variable. Let me take quotient q and remainder as r. Some meaningful names. So x here to take the first input, to take the second input, it is y, say, and what I will do, I will just write q equals to x by y. So it will not give me any point value because we have just checked the program in the last problem. It was like it will give me the whole number value if I write x by y, and if it is integer, if it is declared as integer. So to remainder, now the new thing is to how to calculate remainder. It is very easy. You have to just need to remember a percentage sign. So percentage means remainder. Percentage means remainder, mathematical remainder. So let me write another print statement, and let me write r here, and it will be the remainder is. Okay, let me run the program quickly. So the same problem, if I give 9 and if I give 2, the answer will be 4. We all know now, and the remainder will be 1. So I think you are good at mathematics and you know it better than me. So why the remainder become 1? So to calculate remainder, there is a shortcut to use percentage. So this is the topic 3 only. We do not need to learn anything else. So let me check the same with another set of input. So let me give 33 and 5. So what will be the answer? Answer will be 6 and the remainder will be 3. So if you divide 33 by 5, the result is 6 and the remainder is 3. So that's all we need to learn. So we need to apply this logic into some problems, like if anyone asks, enter the total number of days and find the month and days. Okay. So suppose if anyone enters 100 days and he or she will get in return 3 months and 10 days. That's all. Suppose if I tell you, okay, we will again meet after 100 days. So what does it mean? It means 100 days means we will again meet after 3 months and 10 days. So I'm going to implement the same thing here. So let me delete now everything because we are using the program for many of them. So let me write it fresh. So total month, let me assign it to tot variable. Tot means total. One variable, say m means month, and d means day. So I'm going to prompt a message to user like, please enter. I'm not going to write anymore, please. So it is enter total number of days, and you have to place semicolon after each line. Okay, it is the main thing. And what I need to do, n equals to, okay, I have to take an input, sorry. So it is sc dot, but look one thing, I am not going to change the upper part of the program. I'm not concentrating at all on those part of the programs. I'm just concentrating the lines written in between these two brackets. I'm not going to change anything in the upper part of the program. So anyway, I have already taken the input from user, that is tot, that is kept inside tot. So what I will do now, I will just tot, I will do m equals to tot by 30. Okay. So what it will be doing? It will be doing like 100 divided by 30. So the answer will come as 3. So 3 is the month. Okay. And what will be the day? Day will be whatever will be the remainder that will come inside the day. So now I am just going to print the numbers. The month equals to, let me write in this way, month equals to plus m, and d equals to plus d. That's all. Okay, so let me run this quickly. Okay, let me give 100 days. It is giving 3 months and 10 days. Okay, I will give some tough mathematics to computer. Like if I give 500, let me check how long it will take. 500. So it is quickly giving me the answer, 16 months and 20 days. The program hasn't asked me for the number of years. So I have not mentioned anything here for the number of years. So it is just about the month and day, so I have done the same. I have not printed anything in terms of years. Okay, that's all we need to do. We need to use this percentage in some cases like this. Okay. So let me quickly go to the second last topic, that is power. So it is very easy. If anyone asks you to enter two numbers x and y and uh, ask for the power, means x to the power y, means suppose if anyone gives 5 and 3 as input and in return he is expecting 5 to the power 3, that is 125. So what I need to do? I need to introduce three variables now, x, y and power, say p. So what I need to do, I need to enter two numbers. Okay, I'm just going to copy paste. It is enter first number and enter second number. Okay, I'm going to take an input inside x and I am going to take an input inside y. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I will do, okay, I do not need two output because it is only asking for power. So I will write the answer is P. So how to calculate this P? P will be, there is a new thing to calculate the power. It is a math. M is capital. So MATH dot pow. And then the first value, comma, the value which will be raised to power. So x comma y means x to the power y. Okay. So that is the thing you need to follow. So it means I am taking one input from user into x into another variable y, the second input, and I am calculating x to the power y. So this is a shortcut you have to remember. Math.pow x comma y. By writing this line, you will be able to calculate x to the power y. That's all. Okay, that's all. Let me run this program. Okay, it is giving one error. It should, because this math.pow always return in power, means in floating point number, or it is you can say fractional number. Why? I am telling you just after 5 minutes. So why it returns always fractional number, I am telling you after 5 minutes. But for the time being, we cannot keep the answer of math.pow inside an integer variable, that is p. So let me separate this out. Let me introduce a double here. So double p. So now it can hold the value of math pow x comma y. Let me check first. So if I give 5 and 3, it will successfully giving me 125 in return. So two learning from this, First learning is, it is not mandatory to initialize all the variable as int or all the variables are as double. So where needed, if it is needed to initialize some of the variable as integer, you can do like this. We have introduced x and y as integer, whereas we have introduced p as double. So it can be done. You can use a mixture of integer and floating point variables, means double variables and integer variables. Where it will be needed, you can use int. Where it will be needed double, you can use double. So it is a mixture of both. So now it is giving me the correct answer. So what are the second learning? Second learning means is, we have already checked, like a floating point number or a double variable can hold, a double variable can hold both fractional value and the whole number, both things. So suppose if anyone gives input like x, if anyone gives like, let me write 25 and I need 0.5. So what do you mean by this 0.5? If you have already a chapter in your mathematics syllabus, you will be able to know this. To the power 0.5 means it is root over of something. So 25 to the power 0.5 means root over 25. Look, it will give an answer like 5. Okay, it is giving some problem. Okay, because I am trying to take a input. Next int, y is defined as integer, and I'm trying to put 0.5 into y. So that's why it is giving some error. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me calculate not x to the power y, rather x to the power 0.5. Then it should work. Let me run it quickly. It will take a 25 and some upside value because I'm not using y. So it is giving 5. Why? Because I am calculating 25 to the power 0.5. So in math power function, anyone can give a integer number or a double number. Okay, a double variable or integer variable, anyone can give. So to correctly print the both the variables, both the result, it is p is defined as double. I think it is clear. If it is not, you can review this video and you can do it. You can listen once again and do it yourself in your compiler. That would be good. Means what I am doing, I am just doing x to the power 0.5, means root over of x. So it is taking a fractional value here. So let me do it correctly. Enter a number and I need the root. So what I need to do, I will just write p equals to x comma 0.5. Okay, so let me write this program. Let me run this program. So suppose if anyone gives 36, so it will show the output as 6. But if anyone gives input like 37, so what will happen? It will not give a number in a whole number. The result will not be a whole number like 6. It will give an answer like 6.082, something like that. So to hold, so p is holding 6 at first. After that, p is holding this 6.082, something like that. So to hold both the values, both the whole numbers and the fractional values, it is better to initialize it as double. Okay, so that is a learning. Okay, so you have to remember. So always, whenever we will be holding or we'll be putting a value inside a variable after math.pow, it should be a double value. So p should be double. So anyway, so there is another learning from here is like we have now 7 variables or 7 string or 7 text which are starting with the uppercase. Like the first one is string. Well, let me write it. Then I think it will be easier for you. So first thing is the first text which I need to write in capital is string. S is capital. After that, system.in. S is capital. After that, system.out. S is capital. After that, scanner. S is capital. Apart from this, math. Now, M is capital. Math.pow. M is capital. What else is there? Next int. I is capital. And the last one, next double. Okay, so D is capital. So these 7, as of now, you have to remember, you have to use some capital, means upper cases. The rest of the part, it is lower. So anyway, this program is okay now. So let me go to the next problem. It is enter a number and find its square root. So we have already done the square root part, but there is another way to calculate the square root. If we use only SQRT. So there is another rule, and in that case, we do not need to mention the power. It will be only p equals to math the square root, and the rule is once again the same. P might hold the whole number as well as p might hold some fractional value. So it is mandatory to introduce p as double. So let me execute the program. Enter a number. Let me give some chunk values like 40. It is 6.32 something. If I give some good input like 49, it will give me a result like 7. Look, it is running for both the whole numbers. P is holding both the whole numbers and the fractional value. So So that's all for topic 4. So before going to topic 5, I want to mention two small things, the best practices. It is not mandatory, but you can use like this. Means good indentation. It is not good to give a line like this. It will be good if you make a line. Okay. And if you check, there is a line like slash slash. This is the comment line. So you can use many comment lines here. The comment lines will not be executed by the Java compiler. So you can write anything like this code is written by Devabrata. So you can write anything like this. Okay. So you can write below line is to take input from user. So anything you can mention. Okay. So that's all for topic 4. So this is the last topic today we will discuss, that is swapping values. So how to swap values? This is not a new thing. Rather, we will use all the syntaxes we have learned till now. We will use those to swap the values. So the question will be like this: enter two numbers and swap the values. Means suppose if I give an input 10 inside variable x, and if I give an input 5 inside variable y. So after doing some stuff, those values will be interchanged. The 5 will come inside x, and 10 will goes inside y. So that I will try to write those codings. So these will be super important for your exam as well. So let's move to our code quickly. So let me delete all of these lines first. Let me introduce two variables x and y. Okay, let me use one thing. Let me write one single comment for user. Enter two numbers. Say, I'm not going to write it twice. So what I will do now? X will be sc.nextInt, the same thing we have learned. We have already learned the syntax for the first chapter. So now we need to check how efficiently we can use this syntax in the practical problems. So look, we have taken two inputs inside x and y. So now what I need to do, I need to swap. So what is a swapping basically? Let me draw a picture for you. Suppose there is a juice glass, or there might be a champagne glass. So my drawing is very bad. Okay, there is some problem. Okay, there is some problem as well with the drawing. Anyway, and there is a cup of tea. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so there is a cup of tea. So suppose by mistake someone put hot tea inside this champagne glass. Suppose, let me draw this. Some problem with my mouse actually. So let me draw a bit. So there is a hot tea by mistake inside the champagne glass. Let me draw some streams. Okay, and by mistake the champagne is now inside the cup. So let me put some bubbles, or the juice or champagne is now in the cup. So is it really impossible to swap the content of these two glass, to put the tea back into the cup and to put the champagne back into the champagne glass? Is it really impossible? No. So what I need to do, I need to introduce a third glass. I need to introduce a third glass. So what I need to do first put the put the tea inside the champagne, inside the third glass. So that would be the step 1. Put the tea from champagne glass to the third glass. So now this glass is having the tea. So this is the first step. The second step is to put the champagne back into the champagne glass. It will be done by you even in some practical cases like this. And the third step will be to put the tea back again into the cup. So that would be the step 3. Okay, so by that we can swap the values. Okay, so similarly, if we write the statement here, like the first, okay, so I will introduce first a third variable. Okay, let me delete these lines first. Okay, so I will introduce a line like a variable like z. That would be like our third class. Like if I write z, this is our x, this is our y, and this would be our z. So one thing, okay, one thing, if I write x equals to 5, what does it mean? What does it mean if I write x equals to 5? We have already written. So that means, is that means 5 is going inside x, or x is going inside 5? X is going inside 5 or 5 is going inside x? So if I write x equals to 5, that means x 5 is going inside x. So this part is clear, means 5 is going inside x. So let me clear my drawing first. Okay, so now what I will do, I will first put the content of z, content of x inside z. Means I am putting content of x inside z. Okay, some automatic value they are giving. Okay, I don't want this suggestion. Anyway, so z is taking the value of x. So value of x is now empty. You can say it is not empty, but you can say the glass is empty. So x will now take the content of y. Okay. Now at last, y will take the content of z. Is that clear? Z will take the content of x. That is the step 1. We are putting the value of x inside z, means z equals to x. After that, x equals to y. X is taking the value of y, and at last y is taking the value of z. Okay, and after that we will be able to see the swapped values inside the variable. So I will print the values are plus x plus and plus y. Let me run this program. So let me give the value of x is 10, the first value. The value of y as 5. Now, when I will print the value of x and y, x will show 5 and y will show 10 because the values are swapped. Look, it is printing it correctly. So I think this idea is clear. If it is clear, then it is very good. I must appreciate you because it is the toughest problem of the chapter 1, I would say. But if it is if it is still not clear, I will recommend you to do the program by your hand. I am repeatedly saying this, to do the program by your hand in your compiler, and pause the video and do it by yourself first. Okay, that would help actually. Okay, to build your logic. My purpose is not like to promote my channel. It is not like to uh, uh, to give you some marks in your school examinations. It is just because of to grow, to just have some logic by yourself, so that in the exercise you can solve all the problem by yourself. So I am trying to make some sense. I am trying to make some logics in your brain actually. So anyway, so let me go to the slide once again, and let me clear this drawing first. Okay, so we are done with all the programmings. So for the exercise, you can visit to my group, Facebook group, and here you will get some exercise. You can also visit the blogs where everything is written in the written format. So, and in case of any doubt, you can comment on the comment section of this video, or you can write me a mail with the difficulties you are facing, and I will show you our Facebook page actually. So this is our Facebook page, Facebook group. You can join here, And okay, it is taking, my internet connection is slow, I guess. So this is the binary world, the Facebook group. You can go to the photos section and go to the album, and here you will get one album like coding exercise basic. So go inside that and you will get the first chapter as starting programming. So all of those things we have learned, all of those 5 topics we have learned, you can see the exercise here, and you can solve all of them using whatever we have learned today, all the problems. You do not need to go to the second chapter starting it, because it is our next chapter. In the next class we will check how to solve if thing. So for the time being, you can solve this chapter only, starting programming. Okay, if you face any difficulty, you can comment on this comment section of this video, or you can reach out to me via mail. Okay, thank you and best of luck. See you in the next chapter.